Welcome to The Route to Revenue, two entrepreneurs sharing the path to curbside cash flow. I'm Ben.
And I'm Mike. We're both founders of two successful recurring revenue businesses in the home services industry. And we've built our companies from startup to profitable and scalable operations.
This is the show for entrepreneurs serious about building sustainable home service businesses. Whether you're starting out, scaling up, or ready to move beyond trading time for money, we share proven strategies for creating predictable monthly revenue streams.
And while our expertise comes from the bin cleaning industry, the systems and principles we discuss work for any recurring revenue home service. Think lawn care, pest control, pool maintenance, and beyond.
Each episode, we break down real-world strategies for customer acquisition, retention, operational efficiency, and building systems that generate consistent income while you step back from daily operations.
Are you ready to transform your home service businesses from a demanding job into a profitable asset? This is The Route to Revenue.
Before we jump back into today's conversation with Jon Stanley, a quick note. This is part 2 of our discussion on DOT compliance, safety, and risk management for home service businesses. Last time, Jon helped us cut through a lot of the confusion around DOT regulations, driver qualification files, and what operators actually need to be paying attention to. Today, we're taking it a step further. We're talking about safety culture, drug and alcohol testing, protecting your business from costly mistakes, and why the best operators don't just focus on compliance. They focus on creating systems that keep their people safe. So if you joined us for part 1, welcome back. If you're just finding us today, don't worry. You'll get plenty out of this episode too. Let's jump back into our conversation with Jon Stanley.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
So in all of that, I mean, one of the things that stands out to me, Jon, is what about drug and alcohol testing? What kind of a program do we need to have with that? I mean, is random actually necessary? When does it kick in?
Yeah. So let's talk about culture, and then let's talk about regulation, because I think there's two opportunities here, right? And so culturally, should I drug test? Well, how much do you care about your business, right? How much do you care about your community? And then last, how much do you care about the individuals that you have stewardship over? And drug testing is an opportunity to do all three of those at the same time, right? And so for me, we live in a green state, right? I guess is what I call it, bringing Mile High to a whole new level. And, this is a fear that if I drug test, I'm going to lose all my employees. Yeah, you might lose some, right? We have to start treating marijuana like we do alcohol, right? It's common across the country. So build a non-DOT drug testing program for your drivers who aren't CDL drivers, and take marijuana out of the testing pool and start looking for the harder things, the methamphetamines, the cocaine, the things that can really do some damage, right? And you can do that. You can have that removed from your testing pool, and then write a policy that says you're not allowed to use marijuana or alcohol 8 hours before you come on shift, right? Marijuana stays in the system for days. You can't test for it right now with a simple breathalyzer or anything like that. So have your policy, but then have some good reasonable suspicion processes in place. If you smell marijuana on your employees when they show up to work, then you gotta fix it, right? CDL drivers, you have to drug test them, and they have to be in a DOT drug and alcohol testing consortium, and you need to test for everything that they require, which includes marijuana. And I hear all the time, oh, I take CBD oil, I rub CBD cream on my joints. Yeah. Know your industry, right? If it's going to test positive on a DOT drug test, then you're gonna have to go through that, right? That's why we have the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse for CDL drivers. If I test positive as a CDL driver, I get put in that clearinghouse, and now everybody knows that I've used drugs. And you have to go through a substance abuse professional program before you can even get your license reinstated. So it's a big thing. It's a really big deal now. I would also say, if you're not reasonable suspicion trained in your operation, yesterday was the day to get that done, because not knowing if your employees are under the influence is one of your biggest liabilities as well, especially here in states that have approved recreational use of marijuana.
Yeah.
So as a small fleet operator, that may be out of compliance, whether from an audit or an accident or roadside inspection that's gone wrong, what are some of our real financial exposures that we can have that we should, you know, maybe motivate us into doing more of these things that we may not be currently doing?
Yeah, so if DOT comes in and they find that you're negligent in not taking care of some of these compliance items, they can write you fines, and they do. I've seen fines as high as $60,000 for companies. I think the smallest amount that I've ever seen come out of a DOT audit is about $30 to $35,000. If we've been involved in those, we have been able to say, hey, can we use some of those fines funds and go find a tool and invest in that tool to cure whatever you found? And they will give up a portion of those fines to do that, but you have to provide proof that you've invested in that. But then I've seen cases where, they shut your business down. They take your DOT number away. You're put on you're blacklisted. That's very rare, but it does happen. Um, Happens probably more than we realize. The other financial exposure that you have, and we've touched on it a little bit, is the plaintiff attorney side of stuff. How much do accidents cost you? I did a seminar yesterday, and the typical commercial motor vehicle accident in the United States without an injury is about $49,000. Now, if somebody gets injured, that goes to about $336,000, and if there's a fatality, it's $15.2 million. And usually the fatalities um, involve it. We weren't the one that caused it, but because we had zero compliance in place, I'm now being sued for that. And so that financial responsibility gets significantly larger when we start talking about lawsuits. Last year or 2 years ago, we saw the first $1 billion verdict come out of a court case for trucking. And so now we're in the billions. It's no longer millions, right?
Wow. I think I'm starting the first can company where they're gonna bring us their bins to be washed at the
There
shop.
you go.
I won't I'll take the tires off the truck, I'll leave it on blocks, and you guys can just
Yes.
bring your bins here and I'll clean them for you because
Yeah.
that's wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, and that's why insurance is so high, guys. That's why we're
Huh,
seeing an
that I do
increase
know.
in the insurance.
Yeah.
And we're just going to see that continue to go up because you're being graded against some of the bad players in the same area, the same fleet size, right? So that's how we fix the insurance as we start fixing the industry as a whole.
Awesome. So one of the things that, I mean, obviously, we look at your business and we know that it's DOT compliance, but I think, knowing you personally, it's more than that for you. It's about safety, it's about people, and it's about culture. And so, talk to us about how do we build a safety culture and why does that even matter for a small operator, one or two trucks? Help us out.
Yeah. This is where it starts, right? Safety doesn't exist unless you have the culture to handle it. Nothing will kill your safety program or the perception of your safety program more than a leader who doesn't follow their own program, right? And so culture's top down. You have to be bought into your own program first, and then you trickle that down to your employees. The reason it matters to the smaller guys is each of you, and I know Ben, you and I talk, frequently about what you're up against. And Mike, I'm sure you're in the same boat. You probably wear 17 different hats at any given moment. And what better way to protect your safety program than to have a bunch of people who are in your vehicles who are a bunch of little safety managers, right? And so if you build a culture that teaches them, hey, look, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to screw up. We want to learn from them. We want to grow from it. We want to build from it. We want to identify, I had a near miss. Okay, well, what allowed that near miss to exist? Let's talk about it. If your culture says, I'm going to fire you if you ever tell me you make a mistake, well, then you're not going to ever get the information you need to go fix whatever is allowing incidents or accidents to happen, right? The best way to build a culture is to truly have an open door policy. Don't say I do and then close the door on your employee's face. Let them come in and tell you, I have a problem. I'm scared. This makes me nervous. I'm not comfortable driving in the snow, whatever it is. I think that the um, the the best way to build that culture is to involve your employees in designing what your policy should look like. They're the ones doing the job, right? And you know it, but maybe you're not doing it every day and has it changed. So have your drivers help you build the policy manual. Have your drivers help you build the training program. Have your drivers help you build whatever you're building into your program. Let them be involved. And now you got a bunch of these little safety ambassadors out there for you doing everything you need them to do. And then teaching the new guys that are coming on, hey, this was my policy. I helped write this. I'm involved in this. Now they're empowered to be your safety program. Too many times business owners start a business and then they feel like they got to do everything themselves. And then I'm not going to let my employees be involved in it. I'm just going to shove it down your throat. And then we wonder why they don't obey our expectations, right? Because you didn't involve them. And
Yeah.
anymore, the generation that we have today, they want to be more than just drivers. I want to be the CEO of the company on day one. Well, what does that
Yeah.
look like? How do you get there?
Create some ownership with them, if you will. So, John, as bin cleaner operators running, say, 2 or 3 trucks, what do we actually have to have in place now? Almost like what's the minimum or maybe the starting point of a viable safety program for an
I like
operator like
starting
that?
point better than minimum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look, the starting point is, and this is a this is a topic that I just taught in my seminar yesterday, so it's really fresh in my mind. You have to set expectations. If you're expecting your drivers to meet an expectation that they've never been taught or shown, you're in a losing game there, right? Y- You have to set those expectations of what does it look like to be a safe driver? What does it look like to be a good employee for my operation? And then put it on paper, write it out, make a policy manual. Those are the simplest things that you can do now of here's my expectations and here's how you meet those expectations, right? The second step to that is then teaching them what does that look like in your operation. So showing them, not just throwing the handbook to them and saying, "Hey, read this and then sign it for me," right? And we've all done it. Every one of us have handed over paperwork and said, sign these. And then we've never really taught them what's actually in this. And I go to operations all the time and I'm like, did you teach your driver this? Yeah. Well, here's the signature. Okay. And I go ask the driver, what's in the handbook? And he's like, I don't know. I just threw it in the back seat until it got trampled on too many times and I threw it away. Like it's not,
Mhm.
it's not something I live by. Right. So part of that is we've created this Bible for employees to read, and we haven't even read it ourselves. I go into places and they've got a binder that's 6 inches thick, and that's their policy manual. And I'm like, "What's in that?" And they're like, "I don't know. I
Nobody
just pulled
knows.
this off the internet and I threw it in there." And I'm like make a real manual with to the point, direct policies. When we go in and we fix a manual, I take your 600-page manual and I bring it down to about 22 pages. That's all you need, and we don't need to overcomplicate it. So set the expectations, teach the expectations, and then you have to follow up and monitor the expectations. So if you can get your driver's manual in 60 days, get it in 60 days. And then after that, teach it, right? Show them, spend the next 60 days teaching them how to meet those expectations and then figure out how do you want to monitor them. Do you have telematics in the truck? Do you do ride-alongs? Do you have cameras? What do you have to monitor that they're meeting your expectations? If you have those three things, you got everything you need to have a fully well-rounded managed safety program. Don't confuse compliance as safety, right? Compliance is paperwork and meeting the minimum. Safety is what takes you to the ceiling. And so in your manual, also create what do I need to have for driver qualification and make sure they meet that when you hire them. I tell my customers have a manual for hiring, have a manual for drivers, and have a manual for how do you handle things as a manager if something happens later, right? So separate it all.
And you're creating that safety culture you talked about earlier at the same time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
accountability, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%.
So while we're on the subject of creating a culture, um,
Man.
I know
Look at
This is
that.
just
Wow.
an audio podcast, but this is the book that John just wrote and published. Okay.
Mm,
And I don't know, partway into it, not quite halfway. And I set time aside to sit down and read it. And, as is usually the case, something comes up and something comes up. But I have gotten into it. And I have to say, John, you know, I read and listen to a lot of business books. And this one's different. And there's a lot of great points to it as far as, and it's from personal experience. And that shows in it. The stories and the things that are there. And so just, talk to us a little bit about your book and why you wrote it and who it's for and what it's about and what made you decide that now is the time to write it.
yeah. Man, that's eh, there's a million different reasons why I wrote it. Um, I'll share a few. First reason's probably more selfish than anything. One, I set a goal in 2025 to write a book. It was part of my intellectual goals that I wanted to achieve. Um, I I started writing it in big red crayon, and then I had to kind of evolve it. So hopefully it didn't show up as a manuscript did. It was for me to one prove to my kids that if you set a goal, you can go do it, right? And so I wanted to achieve that. The second reason I wrote it was therapeutic for me. I spent a lot of my life being held hostage in my mind of my own mistakes and things that I've made or decisions I've made in the past. And the book's titled More Than a Mistake. And, I haven't got there, Ben, so I won't try to ruin it. But the end really talks about getting out of your own head, right? When it comes to your mistakes. And so writing that helped me kind of get out of my own head and realize that mistakes are just a door for us to overcome some of the walls that we build for ourselves. And if we can walk through that door, we're able to overcome these mistakes and become bigger and better tomorrow than we were today. And then third reason I wrote it was for leaders of all types, whether you're a leader in an operation, whether you're a leader in your home, whether you're a leader in your church, your community, wherever, that human beings are more than their past. They're more than the errors that they make. And if we can look past those errors and help them identify there's an opportunity to learn from mistakes and help people grow, then we're going to be a better society. We're going to be a better group of human beings in the end. And to help get to real coaching, help to get to real mentoring, and not letting the mistake determine who that employee or that person in your life is going to be. And that's really why I wrote it. I think it needs to be heard that we're all just a bunch of failures if you look at it that way, or we're all just a bunch of human beings who have a huge opportunity to learn and grow and help each other. So that's really where the book came from. I started writing it to help me overcome my past and it worked. And so I gotta go find the next thing to help overcome, and I guess I gotta write a book about it.
We're going to
Probably
have a
probably
series of,
yeah, it'll be like I'm more than that cheeseburger, will be the next one. So, yeah, it was fun to write. I never wanted it to be anything more than just a book that I could put on my shelf and be a constant reminder for me, but if it can help a handful of people, then I'm excited about that.
I'm
yeah,
sure it
that's
will.
awesome.
And I just ordered mine on Amazon. I see that was just released. Was it the 28th of April? Just like
Yeah,
2
yeah.
weeks ago?
Yeah, 28th
That's
of
awesome.
April, we've had 14 orders and 11 of them are family members. So, which is
Well,
cool because 'cause they're the
and
ones
it's
that
got
need to
50.
hear it the most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm excited about it. It's not anything that I expect to, I'm not gonna be a New York Times bestseller. Maybe I'll set a goal for that and achieve it, but, I wanted to put what I know on paper, and somebody needs to hear it, and if I can share it, I'll share it.
awesome. Well, thank you. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And it truly was. I mean, I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know how good.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate that.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, Mike, do you want to take us into our rapid fire section? We always do a rapid fire section, John, and I think we're there.
nice.
Yeah. All right. So these are real quick answers. At what fleet size does DOT compliance become truly unavoidable?
One,
Excellent.
you need it. Yeah. Yeah.
Get started now while it's easy.
Yep.
It only gets more complicated. One thing every operator should do this week to reduce their risks.
Get engaged with your employees and start with your expectations. Get that done now. That's the best way.
Excellent. Biggest misconception that operators have about DOT rules.
I don't need to do it because I'm not a trucking company, and that's completely false. You are a commercial motor vehicle company. You have to do it.
Excellent. And our last one, what's the one compliance failure that scares you the most to see?
And there's a lot. Qualifying drivers, but not training our drivers to be safe, right? I witnessed that. I watched it. It unfolded before me, and it's really what kickstarted my career in safety is that one driver who wasn't taught to be safe, and he killed a family. Scares me. My family drives on the same highways as these guys. I drive on the same highway as these guys, so it's very scary.
Awesome. Thank you.
100%.
So the last question, how do our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah. Well, we'll ship you a light that you can just shine in the air like you do Batman, and it's my logo, and then we come.
There you go.
No, yeah. Every city's got a synergy safety group, logo lamp that they got to turn on.
Yeah.
No, look, we have many ways. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn pretty heavily. You can go to our website, synergysafetygroup.com.
Okay. Hey, John, this is a lot of great information. As I was going through my notes that I've taken, do you have any kind of forms available, like a pre-trip inspection or a typical driver's day scenario or whatnot that our listeners could somehow sign up for or get delivered, via email to them, something along that lines, perhaps?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to give you two things here. What I'll provide you that I think your listeners would really benefit from is I'm going to give you a DOT website they can go to get all the pre-trip forms and everything they need to set up their DOT compliance. And then I'm going to give you the ability to share with your listeners access to a website that we've created. It's a tool that I use for our customers where they can go build their driver handbook based off of what kind of policies they want to have in place. And it's also
Nice.
based off their type of operation. So if they're in construction, which you guys would qualify in the construction world, that's where you kind of land, or even waste, I have it set up. And I'll give instructions on how to use this website. They basically put in their logo, they fill out their information, and then they
Oh,
select
wow.
what type of operation I am, and then they go through and click everything that they want to add into it, and then they hit generate, and it automatically builds a PDF for them with their driver handbook already built with their logo, their
Oh my
company
goodness.
information,
That's
everything
fantastic.
they need. So
Thank you so
we'll
much. This is
provide that
great.
to your listeners. Usually I charge $10,000 for them to have access to that, but we'll give it away free. So
Well, thanks, John. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
you're
Your
welcome.
Just put that
generosity.
on Ben's
Oh,
on the tab with you. He'll pay for everybody.
To all the listeners, we actually bill Ben for this. Yeah, load it up.
load it up. Play. Yeah. Load my tab up. So, John, that brings me to my next question. So, what do you have a program? I mean, when I think about safety and compliance, and I think about, a company like you, honestly, I figure it's probably too expensive for an operation my size. Do you have something that's affordable for an operation for a guy that's, we talked about starting at one truck? Is there somebody that can do that, or somebody like me that's at four or five and, moving forward?
Yeah, we do. Look, this is what we're geared towards. This is who we are built for in our compliance services that we provide. We have all sorts of programs and all sorts of things that we provide for a wide variety of services. There's nothing in safety and compliance that I don't put my hands on, and it's all a la carte. Okay. But where I'm drawn to when we talk about fleets of your size is compliance. That's the number one thing that's eating your lunch right now. And so we have a company within our services that we own. It's called Ultralis, and it's a compliance company where we manage driver qualification files for you. We onboard your drivers for you. We manage drug and alcohol testing, whether it's DOT or non-DOT. We update your biannual updates with the FMCSA. We handle all the paperwork side of stuff for compliance. We don't handle registrations or the your plating, your all that stuff, right? We don't do your 2290s if you're larger vehicles, but we handle just the driver compliance, and we charge $50 a month per driver to manage that. You never pay for a drug test. You never pay for an MVR. You'll never pay for anything else. It's all included in that fee. And we handle everything. So if you want to hire a driver, you simply give us their information, their name, their phone number, their email, and our team goes out and onboards them and completes all the paperwork with them and gets them clear to drive. And then we pass them on to you, and you do your thing. They also get driver training with that as well. So we send your drivers monthly training modules every month from Driver Education Network, which is our company. That's all included in that $50 a month. We do charge a startup fee for that of $150 for the first month, and then it's $50 every month after that. And for the rest of the time, we manage all of the DQ file stuff. We manage MVR pools, we manage the clearinghouse, we manage everything. So
Awesome.
That's the program that I think your industry and the people of your size would benefit most from. We also build a driver handbook for you if you haven't used the website to build one. So yeah.
Sorry. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. That'll be great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge gift for our people of our size. I know for my company, that's a lot cheaper than having, like you said, a plaintiff attorney coming after me.
And a lot
Yeah.
less than I thought it was going to be too. I thought it would be,
Yep.
considerably more because it's,
Yep.
it's a lot of headache. And if you can get that headache taken off of you for the cost of a pizza and a pitcher of beer, that's
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's why we built it, right? We're the only white glove compliance company that exists in the industry. Everybody else has a resource where you can house your qualification files, but nobody actually does the work for you. We take on all of that. So right down to reviewing the MVR and saying, hey, he doesn't qualify. He doesn't meet your expectation. He doesn't meet your standards, or this application's missing these components. We make sure everything is perfect before they ever get released to you to drive. So they can ride, they can be a passenger, but they can't drive until that's complete. So including the previous employer safety history check. So if you have 60 previous employers, our team handles all of those.
wow.
Awesome. Okay. So,
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, Ben, that's a wrap on another episode of The Route to Revenue. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you would hit like, subscribe, and leave us old guys a comment about what we did well. And if we did anything wrong, can it and keep it to yourself.
If today's strategy sparked some ideas for your business, don't keep them to yourself. Share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur who could benefit from these insights.
Remember, building a recurring revenue business, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Take one actionable step from today's discussion and implement it in your business this week.
Want to connect with us between episodes? Find us on Facebook or at our website. We'd love to hear how you're applying these concepts in your own home service business.
And until next time, keep building those recurring revenue streams and stay on the route to revenue.
The route to revenue.
Nice, Ben.